Welcome everybody. This is Ava filling in for John. Welcome to Murtech.com's Daily News Update Extra. We are sharing a video snippet that provides no nonsense, common sense, logic, and truth. I am following this channel and given this video a thumbs up. The link to this video is in the description box below. Please follow Murtech on Rumble, give me a thumbs up and share this information far and wide. This great news update will begin momentarily. Thank you and may God bless.
On Sunday, President Trump deploying 2,000 National Guard troops to Los Angeles following 2 days of rioting against the federal agents executing search warrants and carrying out immigration enforcement actions on workplace sites in the area. The clashes beginning on Friday afternoon and continuing throughout the weekend, centering around a Home Depot in Paramount, California, an area in the LA Fashion District, and at the LA Civic Center. Federal and local officials arresting dozens over the weekend. Viral videos circulating on social media showing rioters waving Mexican flags, throwing concrete chunks and rocks at law enforcement vehicles, injuring at least one agent, launching fireworks, tossing shopping carts, and other large objects in the streets. On Sunday, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem telling CBS that LAPD waited several hours to respond to their calls for assistance.
Unfortunately, waiting several hours for LAPD to show up or telling them telling us that they're not going to back us up until they have an officer in a dangerous situation is something that just isn't workable when you have violent protests going on. That's one of the reasons that you've seen the National Guard come in and help us with those security operations.
President Trump invoking a federal law to deploy the National Guard, a less common but not unprecedented move that places the Guard under federal control rather than state authority. The order reading in part, quote, "In addition, the Secretary of Defense may employ any other members of the regular armed forces as necessary." Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom responding on X, quote, "The federal government is taking over the California National Guard, not because there's a shortage of law enforcement, but because they want a spectacle. Don't give them one. Never use violence. Speak out peacefully." Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth writing Saturday on X, quote, "If violence continues, active duty Marines at Camp Pendleton will also be mobilized. They are on high alert." Newsom calling Hegseth's threat, quote, "deranged behavior." And Hegseth responding on X, quote, "Deranged equals allowing your city to burn and law enforcement to be attacked. There's plenty of room for peaceful protest, but zero tolerance for attacking federal agents who are doing their job. The National Guard and Marines, if need be, stand with ICE," unquote. President Trump was asked Sunday afternoon about sending in the Marines.
What is the bar for sending Marines to
the bar is what I think it is. I mean, if we see danger to our country and to our citizens, we'll be very, very strong in terms of law and order. It's about law and order.
LA Mayor Karen Bass speaking with NBC News saying she'll do anything she can to protect the illegal aliens from ICE.
We are going to fight for all Angelenos, regardless of when they got here, whether they have papers or not. We are a city of immigrants, and this impacts hundreds of thousands of Angelenos.
U.S. Attorney Bill Asaley on Saturday telling a local CBS station what federal agents were doing in the sanctuary city.
There's no raids. Yesterday, we executed several search warrants at workplaces that are in violation of federal laws. There was a warrant signed by a federal judge. They're violating labor laws. They're violating, they had fraudulent records they're using for their employees, all kinds of stuff. So we had warrants to go there. The other activities that we're doing this weekend and what will continue is the targeted enforcement. We're looking for criminal illegal aliens who have arrest warrants and final deportation orders. People have deportation orders. We're arresting really bad people out there. We're child abusers and violent criminals. We're getting them out of the country, and that's what the American people voted for. And that's going to continue. That's not stopping.
DHS reporting ICE operations in the Los Angeles area this week resulted in at least 118 arrests of illegal aliens with criminal histories, including child cruelty, drug trafficking, assault, robbery, murder, sex crimes, and domestic violence. Reporters are Tom Homan Saturday on Fox saying the federal operation in Los Angeles will continue.
What people aren't talking about is ICE served several warrants yesterday. These were criminal warrants. This is a criminal investigation. And today we're continuing operations. They're not going to shut us down. We're out there right now doing operations. We're going to keep doing operations. We brought in more resources to push back the protesters, but I'll say it again, a serious warning. You can protest all you want. You got your First Amendment rights. But if you cross that line of impediment, or you're putting hands on officers or destroy property, you will be prosecuted. We're making Los Angeles safer. And Mayor Bass ought to be thanking us for making her city safer.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the so-called Maryland man, who is actually a Salvadoran national, credibly accused of MS-13 membership, is back on U.S. soil. With a caveat, he's now facing 2 federal charges relating to human smuggling. You may remember many media outlets, including the New York Times, Axios, USA Today, and the Washington Post, all referring to Abrego Garcia as just a Maryland man, despite his status as an illegal immigrant. 2 immigration courts previously determining there was sufficient evidence of his MS-13 membership to deny him release on bond as we were considering whether to deport him. In 2019, an immigration judge granting Abrego Garcia withholding of removal to El Salvador, meaning he was indeed deportable, but the one nation he could not be sent back to was his home country of El Salvador, where he feared gang retaliation. That is, unless that gang problem was eliminated in the future. In March of this year, the feds deporting Abrego Garcia to a maximum security prison in El Salvador, kicking off a legal battle that eventually landed before the U.S. Supreme Court. In April, the justices ordering the Trump administration to facilitate, but not effectuate, his return. President of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, initially declining to release Abrego Garcia, calling the idea preposterous given his Salvadoran citizenship and his membership in MS-13. Attorney General Pam Bondi on Friday announcing Abrego Garcia's return to the U.S.
Abrego Garcia has landed in the United States to face justice. On May 21st, a grand jury in the Middle District of Tennessee returned a sealed indictment charging Abrego Garcia with alien smuggling and conspiracy to commit alien smuggling in violation of Title 8 U.S.C. 1324. We want to thank President Bukele for agreeing to return Abrego Garcia to the United States. Our government presented El Salvador with an arrest warrant, and they agreed to return him to our country.
AG Bondi describing the nature of the charges.
The grand jury found that over the past 9 years, Abrego Garcia has played a significant role in an alien smuggling ring. They found this was his full-time job, not a contractor. He was a smuggler of humans and children and women. He made over 100 trips, the grand jury found, smuggling people throughout our country, MS-13 members, violent gang terrorist organization members throughout our country.
These charges coming after the release of body cam footage by Tennessee Highway Patrol of a 2022 traffic stop involving Abrego Garcia. Prosecutors say the video shows Abrego Garcia transporting 9 other Hispanic men without luggage, claiming they were traveling from a construction site in St. Louis to Maryland. Tennessee Highway Patrol confirming no charges were pursued at that time, as federal officials under the Biden administration made the decision not to detain Abrego Garcia. According to the indictment, quote, Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia and co-conspirators 1 and 2 transported undocumented aliens in an unsafe manner. They transported children on the floorboards of vehicles in order to maximize profits. The indictment also alleges one of the unnamed co-conspirators says he received reports that Abrego Garcia abused some of the female passengers he ferried around the country. These allegations tracking with new information we've learned about Abrego Garcia since the beginning of this case. Abrego Garcia's wife, who has called for his return, telling Good Morning America he is a very loving husband, previously filing multiple protective order requests against him. One 2020 filing claimed he bragged he could kill her and, quote, no one could do anything to him. And in a 2021 separate protective order request, she alleges Abrego Garcia punched, scratched, and grabbed her, leaving her bruised and bloodied. Democrats who have lionized Abrego Garcia, casting him as a hero in their fight against the Trump administration's mass deportation effort, are suddenly not so keen on promoting his wonderful qualities.
Everyone has a right to due process, and anyone who stands up for that, even for people that don't inspire necessarily public adoration, we understand that in our nation, when you come after our Constitution, you are doing the wrong thing.
They obviously want to make this about whether or not he ends up being a good guy or a bad guy, but it's not a moral question. It's a legal question. It's a constitutional question.
All I have said from the beginning is that the Trump administration should respect the rule of law and the Constitution of the United States.
That last soundbite from Democrat Senator from Maryland, Chris Van Hollen, who traveled all the way to El Salvador in a publicity stunt to bring more attention to the case. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller describing the Trump administration's plan for Abrego Garcia.
This illegal alien monster is going to be held accountable for his terrible crimes against women and children. And then guess what, Sean? After he does hard time in an American jail, guess where he's going? Right back to El Salvador.
Coming up, Sean Diddy Combs' legal team filing a new motion for a mistrial, and Olympic gymnast Simone Biles gets personal and nasty in an attack against female sports advocate Riley Gaines. This weekend, Sean Diddy Combs' legal team filing for a mistrial in the criminal case against the disgraced mogul. The motion relating to testimony from alleged victim Brianna Bungolan. Bungolan testifying that Combs dangled her over star witness Cassie Ventura's 17-story Los Angeles balcony in September 2016. As evidence, she pointed to photos taken on her phone the following day, showing the injuries she claims she sustained the day before, including bruising on her leg. The defense, in an effort to rebut the balcony allegations, providing receipts they claim prove Combs and Ventura were in New York at the time of the alleged incident. Combs' legal team calling Bungolan's testimony, quote, demonstrably false in key respects. The judge is expected to weigh in on the motion later today. 11-time Olympic medalist Simone Biles lashing out against former college swimmer, now advocate for protecting female sports, Riley Gaines. The backstory? On Friday, a high school softball team in Minnesota won the girls' state championship with the help of a male pitcher posing as female who absolutely crushed the competition. The boy allowing just 2 runs in 35 total postseason innings, according to Fox News. He was a tough opponent for the actual girls. Gaines reposting a picture of the team and their celebratory post and noting, quote, comments off, LOL, to be expected when your star player is a boy. Biles responding hours later, quote, Riley Gaines, you're truly sick. All of this campaigning because you lost a race. Straight up sore loser. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating new avenues where trans feel safe in sports. Maybe a transgender category in all sports. But instead, you bully them. One thing's for sure is no one in sports is safe with you around. Biles then following up with this quote, bully someone your own size, which would ironically be a male, Riley Gaines. Many critics pointing out the hypocritical nature of this post, given Biles' past work in which she claimed to be a body positivity advocate.
I got made fun of for my arms a lot. Some people would say like mean things. They used to call me like a soldier. At the time, it didn't make me feel the best, so I wore sweaters or jackets all year long. Now I show off my arms all the time.
Biles also spoke out against Dr. Larry Nassar, who she says molested her for years as the USA Gymnastics team doctor. He's now in jail, which led many women's advocates now to question how she can defend allowing men into girls' locker rooms and private spaces, all of which comes with their entry into girls' sports. Gaines responded to Biles Saturday in this video posted to social media.
Number one, she's acknowledging there are differences, like physiological, biological differences between men and women in saying this. Secondly, I'm 5'5", which might seem like a giant to someone who's like 4'7", 4'8", but I'm pretty standard size for a woman. I guess like relatively muscular, right? Being an athlete, I would imagine Simone would understand that, but I weigh like 135 pounds, 5'5", of pretty much pure muscle. And again, if anyone would understand that, you would think it's Simone Biles, a woman who has historically been scrutinized is for having a very muscular, masculine-looking body.
Gaines also firing back that she did not lose to male swimmer Leah Thomas. They both tied for 5th. Gaines then retweeting a 2017 social media post from Biles responding to a now deactivated account with the message, good thing guys don't compete against girls or he would take all the gold medals. USA Today, whose opinion writer Nancy Armour has never seen a boy she wouldn't enthusiastically welcome into girls' sports, penning a piece entitled, Simone Biles shows her greatness again in standing up for transgender community. Greatness? More like wokeness, pettiness, and insensitivity to the female athletes coming up behind her. But hey, that's just the opinion of one woman. Well, maybe a few more than one. That'll do it for your AM update. I'm Megyn Kelly. Join me back here for the Megyn Kelly Show, live on SiriusXM Triumph Channel 111 at noon East, on youtube.com/Megyn Kelly, and on all podcast platforms.